Mike Florio is sitting down here in the Catches Law verdict seat. And Mike, good morning. How are you?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Absolute NFL media royalty. So we appreciate the fact that you're joining us.
Can I have a Zin?
Yeah.
Oh.
Of course.
No, I'm just kidding. I saw it, and it's funny. They tell you on the side that nicotine is an addictive chemical, and I've had enough of those. And anytime I see it, it's like I want one right now.
Yeah.
So they warned us.
I'm like a Skull Pouches guy. But we're in California, so I went out this morning. I can't buy Skull Pouches to save my life, so I had to go Zins over here. But listen, we're in the same – New England is in the same spot it's been many times, which is hated by everybody, zero belief, underrated, underappreciated. When you look at this game, the Patriots have a chance.
Oh, I think absolutely. I think Mike Vrabel gives them a chance. I think Mike Vrabel is one of the big reasons they beat the Broncos last weekend, because every game comes down to 3 or 4 moments, and if you can engineer reality to go your way in those key moments, or if you take advantage of the fact that the other team made a mistake and you just kind of got out of their way and let them do it. And I just think Vrabel is the master of that. I love watching him on the sideline. He's got the demeanor of a guy who's basically like trying to supervise a loading operation. Like he's just very alive, and he wants to be on the field, and he remembers what it feels like to be in the game, and he can blend the X's and O's and the realities of coaching with the realities of being a player. And I just think it all comes together, and it puts him in a position where I'll give you the example, and I'm sure you guys have talked all these through from every possible angle, but all the discussion about whether or not Sean Payton should have gone for it on 4th down, the real headline there is Mike Vrabel called a defense that fooled them into thinking they were going to get a look they didn't get. And he was a step ahead of Sean Payton, and they shut down that play. And Payton said that after the game. We thought, based on what we'd seen, that this is what we were going to get. And that's where it's a combination of knowing the opponent's tendencies, knowing your own, and breaking them at the right time, and knowing exactly when to break them. And that's where I think Vrabel gives the Patriots an edge that could carry him over the top.
You talk to everybody around the league all the time. They must regret letting him get away in Tennessee.
I think he wanted to go. I think he stirred it up just enough. Remember when he was inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame, and he made the comment about enjoy what you have here because it's not like it everywhere? Mm-hmm. I mean, I saw it reported or discussed. It got back to Tennessee, and they weren't real thrilled about it. And Mike seems like the kind of guy who is smart enough to make someone else think they want to fire him so he can go somewhere else, right?
That's true.
And I'm just surprised he was available for as long as he was. I'm surprised nobody jumped on him the season he was
in Cleveland.
What is that from your perspective? Like, why?
Well, I just think a lot of it, the Patriots would have, but they already had the commitment in writing to Drake Maye, and they weren't going to not give him the chance that they had promised him all those years. Otherwise, it would have been perfect if Mike Tomlin would have walked away 2 years ago. I mean, Pittsburgh is the other perfect destination for Mike Vrabel. Perfect if it would have worked out. Well, hell, it was where he had drafted. But I just think that teams go into the hiring cycle knowing who they want. And it's a lot to pull them off of who they want. And I don't know why anyone – the easiest explanation is bad teams stay bad for a reason. Yeah. And that you have the right answer staring you in the face, and you don't jump on it. So that's probably the best explanation. Dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things.
Why is it? And we've been trying to have this discussion, and I just can't get it for the life of me from all the – national reporters out there, not all of them, but the ones that we hear from. Why is it that they still do not want to give New England the respect that they deserve to be in this position that they're in?
I don't know, because look, everyone had their chance during the period of purgatory from 2019 until now. And I want to say to all the people who were saying a year ago we're sick of the Chiefs, well, be careful what you wish for, because they're back.
Yeah.
And the narratives this year, the easy schedule, and hey, you go out and you play the games one at a time. We were talking to somebody earlier, and I hadn't thought of this. I mean, they could be 20-0 right now. The 3 games they lost, they should have won. Now, that it changes everything because you have more pressure as you're undefeated, you're getting deeper into the season. You're going to lose one of those games you won. It's not as simple as going back and flipping 3 coins over. But they're good enough to play with anyone, and they've proven that. And you don't make your own schedule. Your schedule comes to you, and all you can do is go out and play the games that are in front of you, and they've proven themselves time after time. I just think we were so conditioned after last Super Bowl to accept the fact that it's going to continue to be the Chiefs, it's going to continue to be the Eagles. We have our vision of what a good team looks like, and I think some teams have to climb to the top of the mountain before the world recognizes that they're quote-unquote elite.
Mike, it's good to see you. I want to ask you about the Patriots offense and just the partnership with Josh McDaniels and Drake Maye. What are you seeing from Drake? What do you think Josh has meant for Drake's development in year 2?
Well, and I'd love to know the whole story on what happened in Minnesota with the joint practices. And I remember watching that preseason game, and Drake was sailing a few passes early on. And it's like, which way is this guy going to break? And he's become so efficient. There was a point in the season where he went 8 or 9 games in a row with 200 or more passing yards and a passer rating in excess of 100. And NBC Sports Research has all these interesting little nuggets of how accomplishments fit in historically. Like what he had done had only ever been done by Tom Brady and I think Aaron Rodgers. To have that many straight games with that level of production and that level of performance with the passer rating. And Sims and I were talking about it one morning, and he said, you're rattling off these names. Josh McDaniels coached 2 of them. And I think just the way this has all worked out, where McDaniels' head coaching stints haven't worked out, he was available to be brought back, he was willing to come back, he loves being with the Patriots. I think he's content in his current role. His name came up for none of the jobs this year. I think it may be a combination of, he's had 2 failed stints, nobody explored him, but also he's not out there trying to get in the mix, trying to get another job. So, it all just worked out perfectly. And Drake Maye has responded to coaching. He's deferring, and he's always seemed very respectful and deferential. We met him at the Combine a couple of years ago, and it's all just worked out perfectly. And you throw Vrabel into the mix, and it's gonna last for, I don't know, years to come. I don't see that trio getting disrupted.
So you think it'll last between the head coach and Josh McDaniels?
I think it will. Yeah, I think it will. I don't think McDaniels wants to go anywhere. And, from Vrabel's perspective, as long as you are getting that kind of performance out of the most important player on the team, you do your thing, and it frees him up to go focus on other things. I mean, think about that. How many teams do you have a situation where the head coach can delegate the most important relationship to the offensive coordinator and not expect the coordinator to be hired to be a head coach somewhere else? Because I always say, if I'm looking for a coach and I have a young franchise quarterback, I want an offensive coordinator to be the head coach. Because if I have a defensive coordinator, I'm going to have a revolving door at offensive coordinator, because it's either going to go well and the guy becomes a head coach, or it's going to go poorly and he's going to get fired. Look at the Eagles the last 4 years. Hired, fired, hired, fired. And so this is the best possible scenario. Vrabel can coach the team, McDaniels can coach Drake Maye, and they just keep pushing forward.
See, the only issue I have with that, Mike, is I personally believe that is if Josh McDaniels has another year like he's having this year, teams are going to be going, wait a second. All right, we know he failed twice, but there's got to be something there now that he's with Vrabel, and I feel like his name is going to be back in the mix, and maybe he looks at it and goes, I want to go someplace that I actually have a real quarterback, because the last 2 places I was at, I was handed Jay Cutler and Derek Carr. And do you think if he has another good year, his name is back out there for being another candidate?
It's a great point, Jermaine. A year can change so much in the NFL. A year's like a decade in the 70s or 80s, because everything changes so much and perceptions can change so quickly. If they have another year like this year, the struggles he had with the Broncos and the Raiders become that blemish that will nag at you as you continue to compile. If they would win it all this year, if they would win it all next year, like how many rings as an assistant coach do I need? I'd like to try to get one that I earn as a head coach, and then it all depends on where does an opportunity pop up where you've got a good team with a quarterback in place. I mean, other than Andy Reid retiring, you don't have those elements because bad teams stay bad, and most of the jobs are bad. And do we really expect Clint Kubiak to just go in and transform the Raiders, or Mike LaFleur to go in and transform the Cardinals? Bad teams stay bad, and they swing back around. Todd Monken in Cleveland, they swing back around in 2 or 3 years, and they're looking for another coach. So I think if everything just lined up perfectly, and a team that had all those factors was able to set aside what happened in Denver and set aside what happened in Las Vegas and recognize it's less about McDaniels and more about bad circumstances, then maybe it could happen again.
Well, that'll be the Bills because it'll be one and done for Brady. It'll be one and done for
Has there ever
Brady.
been a worse situation for a coach to walk into?
And
The
just
expectation so high? Yeah.
yeah.
From that sense, not worse from the standpoint of I have nothing and I have no roster, but just the pressure and the stress and the expectation is you will at least get to the divisional round. And if you do that and lose, why the hell did we get rid of Sean McDermott?
Right.
So the only way you're even remotely a success is if you at least get to the AFC Championship game.
But Josh Allen drove that hiring, right?
He drove the hiring, and I think part of what they're trying to get him to think is he's not responsible for the firing. That his performance against the Broncos with the multiple turnovers, and he said himself the other day, if I just make one more play, we're getting ready for another game.
Right.
We're not having this press conference today.
He forgot they would have had to play the Patriots.
I know. Well, he implied in there that he. It's easy to say we would have won a game we never had to play.
Yes,
I've won a lot of those games over the years.
And he forgot the turnover that he was a big part of in the game against Denver.
Was Drake the MVP of the league this season?
I'm not allowed to say. Well, look, I don't want to get fired from my unpaid job with the Associated Press to spend hours of time and thought and expertise for no compensation whatsoever. So they don't like us to say who we voted for until after the awards are announced. So I voted for Drake Maye.
Oh, excellent. Okay, all right.
But he didn't vote for Bill Belichick.
I'm not one of the voters.
Yeah, he's not one of the
So
voters.
it's true. I didn't vote. I
We're
didn't
gonna
vote for
get to
Bill
that, though.
Belichick.
We're going to get to that. But just what was it easy decision? Was it
No.
Okay.
No, and here's the reality, and I get so twisted up by all the statistics stuff because you can find any statistic to support whatever you want to do. It ultimately comes down to you know it when you see it, and it's a gut feel. And and look, what does most valuable mean? Most valuable performance, that's what they call it now, most valuable performance. What the hell does that even mean? There are so many great players in the NFL. You got to draw the line somewhere. And for me, it was as simple as this. Matthew Stafford had the 1 seed in his grasp on a Thursday night in Seattle. He was up 16 points, and they blew that game. And he had a drive near the end of regulation where they could have won. Like, this is it. Like, hey, this is it. This is the MVP drive. I remember saying, this is it. And he didn't. So, okay, if you didn't, you're not the MVP. You had your chance, and you didn't. I made him second, but, yeah, it's just a visceral thing. We get so caught up in numbers. You can find a number to support anything you want. You know, the Bellichick Hall of Fame thing. You can say, well, it's because of Spygate, or it's because of this, because of that. Look, it comes down to whether or not you think the guy should be in or not. And if you think he shouldn't, you're going to come up with some reason. And if you think he should, you'll come up with a reason. I think it's asinine that anyone could come up with any reason. He's not the first name off of that list of 5 that were available.
Well, Ted has several for you.
Well,
He's sitting
I
right
hear
there.
you. I hear you.
If he had a vote, he's sitting right there.
I hear you. But Ted's in the very small minority.
Yes. Oh, really?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how small it
He feels
is.
differently.
I don't know how small. But not 20%. I still think that of the voters in the room, you got to get to 80% for what the Patriots accomplished. It's undeniable. And look, hey, I am no member of the Bill Belichick fan club. I mean, a lot of people were stunned that I've been so vociferous in my position that they screwed this up because
Count me as one of those people. Yeah.
Well, you put the personal aside.
Yeah, I put it aside.
Sometimes it's hard for people.
It's not. It's personal. I have other reasons.
I'd
like to hear one.
I mean, and the reality is, part of those, like, it's part of what makes him successful. Like, you're wired a certain way, and you have to treat people a certain way, and maybe you're treating people the way you shouldn't treat them, but that's one of the ingredients that's allowed him to be successful. I'm not saying it's right, but sometimes that's how you got to be wired, unfortunately.
So you did not get an invite to the dinner that Jordan Hudson is throwing
Not yet.
for Bill?
Not yet. I would not eat the food. Don't they have...
You need a taster.
You know what,
like
though?
a
They're going to
professional.
do it. Somebody texted me yesterday, wait, they're going to do this on August the 8th. They got a game 3 weeks later, like they're in training camp. They're going to shut down
She
for a
doesn't
night.
care. She
Yeah.
doesn't
No,
care.
it's-
She thinks Tom Brady and others are going to choose to go to that over going to Canton.
Of all the goodwill he built up last week, where the sports world was united for the first time ever, let's burn a little of it, and boom, let's have this party.
Help himself. Help him.
There's one thing that's interesting when you talk about the MVP thing, because we've talked about it all the time on the show, is how much goes into the players around a certain guy. When you look at Matthew Stafford, you got Puka Nacua, you got the Devontae Adams. You start to look at some of these players, and then when you look at Drake Maye, you kind of look at who he has. How much of that goes into your thought process of like, all right, we give Drake Maye a little bit more because he has a little bit less around him?
Here's how I'll explain it, because last year I voted for Lamar Jackson over Josh Allen. And you could argue Josh Allen had less around him than Lamar Jackson. For me, I trust my gut in all things. And because I spend literally every day of the year writing about this, talking about this, thinking about this, watching the games, just having these conversations, like, I trust my gut when I feel like I've seen enough. And last year, my gut was it's Lamar. This year, my gut is, based on everything I've absorbed, everything I've seen, that it went to Drake Maye. Is it close? Yes. But so I don't actively sit down and, like, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to do what my gut tells me to do. So why am I going to take 10 hours to, balance this and look at this and consider that and have some eureka moment where it's like, oh, maybe I am wrong? Because I just think the product, if you spend all your time covering this sport and you've been around watching all the games and you're thinking about it all the time, when it's time to sit down and do your ballot, I'm going to trust that my instinctive reaction is right. And if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. But I just think that makes more sense. Because you drive yourself crazy otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let me get your catches law verdict of the game, Mike Florio. Who wins and why?
I really do think, and I'll be saying later on KJR in Seattle that the Seahawks will win. But now I'll say the Patriots are going to win. I really do. I know the Seahawks are favored, and it's funny. From the divisional round on, I've picked the underdog in every game, and the favorites are 6-0. So I'm due.
You're due for one.
I just think that Vrabel is going to be the difference. Vrabel is going to do something.
Is he the coach of the year?
Yeah, I screwed that one up.
You already said it.
I screwed that one up. I put Cohen down over Mike, and I screwed that up because I was so amazed. Because I think that Trevor Lawrence isn't nearly as good as he played this year, and they had some rough spots early on. And for Cohen to take a team that, because I thought the Patriots were going to make the playoffs, so for the Patriots to be the 2 seed when I already thought they were going to make the playoffs, that wasn't as impressive as this Jaguars team that I thought was just going to continue to be a hot mess, and to get them to be in position to steal the 1 seed going into Week 18. I thought that was an impressive performance from Liam Cohen, and I think you could say, well, the talent there is on par with New England. I don't know about that. But in hindsight, if I had to do it over again, I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. I should have done Vrabel. Now, the problem is I'm influenced by the last 2 postseason games, or the last 3. We do the voting the day after the regular season ends. So right then, we didn't know the Jaguars were going to go one and done. We didn't know the Patriots were going to make it to the Super Bowl. It makes more sense now, but I do have regret that I didn't make Vrabel the coach of the year. But he got the second place vote, and they go 5 deep now.
Yeah.
And I have this weird relationship with the AP where they want me to quit, but I won't.
Yeah.
Because they want me to quit.
Yeah.
And I want them to fire me, but they won't because they know I want them to fire me. Yeah. So now that I've breached protocol, maybe I'll get fired.
Who would they replace you with?
They could throw a rock and find somebody. Yeah. They get 50 people. They replace people every year.
Maybe Wiggy. Wiggy's a journalist.
They try to have some churn in it. But look, anybody that wants to take my job for however much time, effort, and thought I put into it, that pays $0 and no benefits, you can have it.
Then they're in.
I'll do it. I'll Instagram live everything.
Mike,
is the AP still using the fax voting system, or have they?
No, it's funny. They have we have a they used an outside firm this year because there was an issue last year with the ballots. Tony Dungy's ballot ended up, and I've never written this, but I know this. Tony Dungy's ballot ended up getting counted twice accidentally.
Oh wow!
So they now have an outside.
That's election fraud.
Yeah.
Chads.
I need to investigate
They now. I didn't change the outcome of anything, supposedly, but now they have an outside firm that does it all. I am going to get fired. It's worth it.
That's all right. So we have a knack of helping people with that.
A two-part question for me, Mike. The pressure, do you feel, is more on the Seattle side, Sam Darnold's side? Is this a game in which will be a defining moment for Sam Bradford? Do you already have your mind made up of who he is, or is this game going to sway you one way or the other on how you feel about Sam Darnold?
As a guy who grew up, a Vikings fan, and was at the game last year in Detroit when Sam Darnold suddenly got the yips, I'm constantly waiting for the yips to show up again. So I think the pressure is a little bit more on him. I'll give Clint Kubiak and Mike McDonald credit for preventing that from happening so far this year. But the potential's still there. And look, Drake hasn't exactly played clean football in the postseason. So, is it going to be a situation where one of these guys has to make a big play in a big spot, or one of them just has to avoid making a big mistake at the worst possible time? But I think that's what makes this exciting, because it's not the same old guys we're used to seeing. This is only like the third time in the last 40 years where both of the quarterbacks in the Super Bowl entered the postseason without a playoff win in their entire careers. So Sam Darnold's been defying the narrative. Drake Maye is crafting the narrative, and that's what sucks about this. And it's not as bad as it used to be back in the 70s. When I was a kid, if you lost the Super Bowl, you were dog crap. You should hang your head in shame. There was the winner, and if you lost the Super Bowl, you're worthless. Now I think people understand it's still a hell of an accomplishment to get this far.
You've been to so many. What's the best one that you've ever been to from your perspective?
Oh, 51. I couldn't believe it. I'm in the press box, and when you start to get the feeling, could this actually happen?
Trying to figure out how it happens.
And then Julio Jones catches that pass, and it's oh, well, it was fun when it lasted. And that is such an amazing, in the history of the NFL, what an amazing sequence there, where, they screw up the play called sack, and then and because there's a lot of talk about who's to blame. Is it Dan Quinn? Is it Kyle Shanahan? I ultimately put blame on Matt Ryan, because Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are not going to allow this to happen. We're running this freaking ball, and we're kicking the field goal.
Right.
I'm taking this into my own hands here.
It's Mike. You see the kind of there's I feel like an arrogance in the play calling with offensive coordinators in some of these games. I think Mike Martz in 2001, if he hands the ball off to Marshall Falk, maybe it's a different outcome. No, but no, we're going to show on turf. Let's throw the ball. I felt like Kyle had a little bit of that too, man. Let's throw the ball.
Was it Ninkovich on our show who
yes.
he has a theory that when you get down to the end of these games, the coordinator is hoping to help somebody be the MVP.
Which is a quarterback.
Which I've never thought about it in that way.
And the quarterback becomes MVP from throwing the football versus turning around and handing it to Marshawn Lynch on the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know Super Bowl 45, the one that Green Bay beat the Steelers, one of the lingering issues there from talking to people around the Steelers was that Bruce Arians, the coordinator at the time, and Ben Roethlisberger, they were very close. And because Roethlisberger didn't get the MVP for the touchdown pass to Santonio Holmes in Super Bowl 43, the toe tap, still controversial. Yep. Did he have both feet down? There was a concerted effort to make Roethlisberger the MVP of that game, and that kind of caused the whole thing to short circuit.
Yeah. Wild. Well, we thank you for taking the time.
This is great.
Good to see you, Mike.
And New England thanks you for the vote for Drake Maye as MVP.
And they are disclosing the vote. That's the thing. I heard a great story. I'll tell you a great story on the way out. Last year, they disclosed everyone's votes after the awards were announced, and they didn't tell the voters ahead of time they were going to do it. And I know of at least one voter who was very upset because that voter had been telling people, I voted for you. And then it came out that voter didn't.
That is unbelievable.
That's bad.
Now we know they put him out.
Wiggy thinks that they should do it live and televise it.
Transparency.
Televise it. Make some money on it. The NFL loves making money.
It's a revenue stream. Transparency with the officiating. Transparency with the Hall of Fame. Transparency with everything. There is no problem with more transparency.
I mean, we watch the NFL Combine, and they make money off of that. You're telling me you can't do whether it's the MVP voting, whether it's the Hall of Fame voting, televise it on a Thursday night on primetime. I guarantee you people will tune in.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
I think it'd be hard to get voters to want to.
But then they would have to pay us.
Right.
They would have to pay us.
Yes, they would. Absolutely.
Mike Florio, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Good seeing you.